Squid Game fans have completely lost their minds making theories for the third and final season. Some of them are surprisingly convincing, while others are borderline insane. Join me as I debunk the most hilarious and unhinged theories from fans around the world for the final season of Netflix's biggest show of all time. Number 1. A global mistake. This theory has blown up in the comments of my videos. A staggering amount of fans are convinced that either Gi-hoon or In-ho are the son that Il-nam mentioned in season 1, based on the fact that El-riz said his son can't drink milk, when both Go-han and In-ho said the same thing. However, being lactose intolerant is incredibly common, making up more than 75% of the population of South Korea. Plus, we know In-yeol wanted to crush Gi-hoon's spirit, and to do this he needed to get G-Money to trust him. One of the ways he did this was through impersonation, copying Sang-woo's hairstyle from season 1 and taking on an entirely new personality. Saying he was lactose intolerant could have easily been a lie to get Gilbert to let his guard down. Sammy and a multitude of other fans believe In-ho will confess to Gi-hoon that they're brothers and that El-riz is their father. Bryson Backlund believes Gi-hoon and the frontman are brothers and In-ho is their dad, which literally makes zero sense. Or could he be onto something here? Does this mean the frontman is actually someone else? Most of the Squid Game fanbase believes Dae-ho suffers from PTSD from his time in the Marines, and that's why he was so shaken up during the rebellion. But if that was true, I believe he should still know how to reload an MP5, or at least have a good idea. But instead, he looks completely lost at the start of the rebellion. This was before he was physically rattled during the gunfight. Tell me what you think in the comments. Regardless, I do believe Dat-ho will have a redemption arc, where he most likely sacrifices himself to save someone else. Many fans mistakenly suspect that Min-soo is secretly a VIP. When fans looked up the cast for season 1, they saw the actor who played VIP 3 as David Lee, and the actor playing Min-soo as Lee David. Fans completely misinterpreted this as an Easter egg, revealing a huge upcoming plot twist, causing one of the most misguided theories I've ever seen. And that's coming from me. We can rest assured that Min-soo is nothing more than the most hated character in all of Squid Game, even though he never actually took anyone out. Because No-yeol and Sae-byeok share the same surname, fans have speculated that No-yeol might be Sae-byeok's mother, since they're both North Korean defectors, and No-yeol's name means sunset while Sae-byeok's name means dawn. This connection furthers this theory, but it's easily debunked when we consider the fact that they're around the same age. A good amount of fans are convinced the teaser in the ending credits for season 2 is actually a flashback, most likely the 2015 round of games where In-ho was the winner. Player 100's hair is said to be different from what we see from Player 100 throughout season 2, but this is just the lack of lighting. Also, the two players walking next to Player 100 are also the players who hang around Player 100 in season 2, making this theory extremely unlikely. While I do really want to see an episode dedicated to the frontman's past, and the director himself confirm we'll get more backstory on him, we can know for sure that the scene in the teaser is the continuation of the current round of games and not a flashback. Some fans believe Gi-hoon's daughter will be captured and used to force G-Man into running the games, but this is highly unlikely. The games have only targeted adults with extreme amounts of debt, so going after Gi-hoon's daughter seems like a stretch, even for the organizers. Il-nam and In-ho have expressed fascination in Go-han's character and beliefs, confirming that they want to mold Gi-hoon into their ideals rather than give him no other choice. An alarming number of people believe MG Coin's ex-girlfriend will give birth before the final game, and some have theorized that the guards will take the baby away. Others believe Thanos' friend will actually go after the baby out of revenge for MG Coin, but this is simply not possible. She was at a clinic to discuss options for potentially getting rid of the baby, which should only happen during the first trimester. She seemed surprised when the mother noticed her stomach and she had to bring it up during the mingle game. If she really was about to be due, she'd look like she's ready to pop, completely debunking this theory. Hunter Beans and many other fans believe the last game will always be Squid Game, but I'm 99% sure this can't be the case. We've already seen the upcoming games foreshadowed in the bunk room. One game looks like monkey bars while another looks like either chess, a graveyard, or a minefield. Keep in mind the game featured in the season 2 credits is one of the last 3 games. In this promotional clip, we see a game featuring flowers, which is most likely a Korean game called Why Did You Come to My House? And the text reads, prepare for the final game, making it clear that Squid Game will not be the last game again. Let me know your predictions for the last 3 games in the comments. Number 2, a hilarious twist. Noob Roblox 1409 went absolutely bonkers cooking up some wild theories, believing that Mr. Beast is actually a VIP, that Ollie is alive and he's actually a guard, and that In-ho is actually the father of player 222's baby. This would honestly explain why In-ho appeared so concerned for her and the child despite working to betray Gi-hoon the entire time. The Kyle David came up with the sinister theory that player 100 will be the only survivor of the games, Sang-woo's mother will become the front woman, and that our boy Ali is actually a VIP who's been alive this whole time. Stampsite thinks Ali is the true mastermind behind the games. We know we literally saw Ali's corpse get sealed into a coffin in season 1, but Tatakai03 believes Ali gets reincarnated and becomes the frontman. In a hilarious twist, one fan believes player 100 will be the winner, but he'll choke on the credit card. Tuna Safe Dolphin and Lawan Barwari believes Elon Musk is a VIP, and Conky88 says Trump is a VIP in the real-life Squid Games. The Slimmy is Shady believes believes Gi-hoon will be living in America when he gets shot by his daughter for some reason. And he was a raver boy thinks Gi-hoon's daughter is the real frontman. The amount of fans who want to see a romance between Gi-honey and Front Daddy is astonishing. One of the most over-the-top comments I've ever seen is when The Flash commented that In-ho will say, "I'm sorry, Gi-hoon," and Gi-hoon will say, "Prove it," as he takes off his clothes. Hashtag Emi thinks Gi-hoon will be given 5 minutes to satisfy the frontman, but this commenter believes the frontman will have to survive 5 minutes with Gi-hoon, and this arc would be known as 5 minutes at Frontman's. While these scenarios are peak cinema, we know that In-ho's fixation with Gi-hoon is because Ji-hoon challenged him at the beginning of season 2. In-ho wants to prove Gi-hoon wrong, that people are inherently selfish and greedy, and not worth saving. Or do you think In Your Hole will confess his feelings for G-Spot in season 3? Unlikely Pie says Gi-hoon and the baby will be the last 2 players, and because the baby can't vote to end the games, G-Money will be forced to sacrifice himself. AZN Jing says the baby will be born but there's no winner, making the baby the winner of the games. Bai and Jankars believes player 222 is hiding a diabolical secret. I've heard fans speculate that she's not actually carrying a baby, she just holds her stomach all the time because she's always hungry. Van believes Jung Bae teamed up with the frontman to stage his death to get the prize money for himself. Ninja Cake 47 says Guard 11 spared the life of player 246 not for the sake of his daughter but because she wanted $20 for saving his life. The fact that they use won in South Korea and not dollars makes this even more hilarious. Whereas VRX came up with the insane theory that In-ho might actually be the frontman. Although based on everything we've seen, I'm going to need a lot more evidence to back up that claim. Because I sometimes refer to Gi-hoon as Gohan, Choppa Draws believes that Gi-hoon's father might actually be Goku. Pandathing is certain that Gohan is not the backman. Josiah believes that the frontman is Jen-eun's father. The Desco 5 believes the frontman is Gi-hoon's dad, which is extremely unlikely since Gi-hoon is older than In-ho by 2 years in the show. One fan said that Squid Game is actually a prequel to the Hunger Games, and Gi-hoon Everdeen is actually related to Katniss. Strawberry Jacuzzis believes that Squid Game is a prequel to Train to Busan. Harrison BTW is convinced that Junho knows where the One Piece is. Muttgooch says that Gi-hoon will turn into a kaiju and take down the games. CJE believes the show will end with the frontman saying, "You are too late, Gi-hoon. Now every squid shall have its game." Absolute cinema. Number 3, a mind-bending plot twist. There's a lingering theory that the games are actually a simulation, and the games were created to test human nature and push people to their absolute limits. 123 Bumblebee says it was aliens all along. Storm Alexandrios theorized that Gi-hoon suffers from multiple personality disorder, and in the most mind-boggling twist ever, it turns out his other personality is the host of the games. While this theory is certainly troll bait, G-Man unknowingly being the showrunner for the very games he's trying to stop sounds like a morbid ending to a psychological horror film. ASAP Barry created another nightmare scenario when he said Gi-hoon will be eliminated in the very first episode of season 3, and Junho comically sails throughout the entire show, never finding the island. Delicious Movie 3293 brought up a horrifying possibility that everyone is already dead and Squid Game is actually purgatory. While this is a bone-chilling and somewhat creative idea, fans are gonna riot if this is how the show ends. Let's address the most infuriating fan theory of all time. Ben Benny Ben Ben, Tofu Python, and Favorite Cowgirl think the grand reveal at the end of season 3 will be that the entire series was all a dream, potentially caused by eating the fast food he bought for his daughter at the start of season 1. Netflix would have a rebellion on their hands if this was the case. I'd rather join the games myself than have this be the ending. A couple mad lads believe none of the eliminated players are actually dead and they'll all pop back up at the very end, revealing to Gilbert that it was all a game show. Will Delete Later 456 says no one dies and someone will reveal that there's a hidden camera there, and there. Number 4, an unexpected betrayal. Christian Rivera 8067 claims player 222 is the showrunner of the games, which explains why the frontman expressed so much concern for her. He also thinks player 149 is a VIP since she was allowed to bring a hidden knife into the games, but the only reason this was allowed was to make the games more entertaining, not because she's secretly running the games. In a ridiculous twist, he also believes that Thanos will be revived because of how entertaining he was for the VIPs, but there's no evidence that there's any kind of medical care on the island. The only reason The Only Way says Daeho is working with the showrunner since he didn't come back with the ammo. Some fans take this to mean Dat Ho is a VIP since he was the one who desperately offered to retrieve the ammo to escape the gunfight. He also didn't want to tell Jung Bae about his past when he was asked. Most notably, after the first game when player 388 was called, a different person walked up and voted. This cemented this theory in the minds of a multitude of fans, making them certain that Daeho is in fact a VIP. But I find this very unlikely since he volunteered for the rebellion when he would have been safe otherwise. The fact that another player walked up when his number was called could have just been a continuity mistake. If this was a clue that Daeho was actually a VIP, then he would have had to take the place of the other player 388, either by taking him out without anyone noticing or having the organizers of the game switch them out somehow. What do you think? Number 5, false hope. Many fans like Casey Shoemaker are delusional in believing Thanos is still alive, but we've never seen a character who was mortally wounded come back. And with all the blood loss, our boy Thanos is long gone. Also, the Op is convinced that Jung Bae is alive, but our boy got bodied near the heart at point blank range, showing no signs of life while Gilbert was shaking his body. There are fans who believe Ian Ho has wanted to take down the games this entire time, which is a really interesting idea. This would mean everything he's done so far, even eliminating this guy and taking out Jung Bae, has been to ultimately bring the games to an end. Since he chose to continue living in a small apartment despite having won the prize money, I believe Ian Ho set out to put an end to the games at first, but then came to a terrifying realization that the games will never stop as long as there are rich people bored enough to fund them and people desperate enough to participate. After realizing the games will never end, In Your Hole chose the lesser evil to at least make sure the games are run fairly. This then led to Ian Ho abandoning hope in humanity. While I do believe that the frontman had noble intentions at first, I'm certain that right now he believes that the games are a good thing. A personal theory of mine is that the frontman will go back to being the man he used to be and will help Gi-hoon Everdeen take down the games. But I don't believe he's wanted to take them down all along. It's been years since he won and he's had more than enough opportunities to take out the VIPs and even detonate the island with the explosives mentioned in season 1. The fact that he hasn't speaks volumes about his true intentions. A couple fans believe the frontman joined the game specifically to protect player 222 out of guilt for what happened with his wife who passed away. But again, based on his actions, this doesn't seem likely at all. It's much more likely that Ian Ho joined the games to prove to Gi-hoon that humanity isn't worth saving and to make the games more enjoyable for the VIPs, since the frontman and the VIPs knew that G-Man would reveal the true nature of the games to all the players. S. Malik is convinced that Ian Ho did nothing wrong. While I do believe this is certified rage bait, it is understandable that the once upstanding detective would become twisted after being betrayed by his coworkers, losing his career, witnessing 455 players get taken out, seeing how no one was willing to donate their liver to save his wife and unborn baby, and ultimately losing his family. I'm certain many people would have abandoned hope in mankind too if they went through the same thing, but nothing can justify finding joy in betting on the players, even if his goal is to make the games fair for everyone. But when you consider how El Riz and Ian Ho cheated almost every game themselves, we know the concept of fairness and equality got thrown out the window long ago. Number 6, the bitter end. Pleasant Internal and a multitude of other fans believe Gi-hoon will become the frontman, but I can't imagine the show having such a morbid ending. Since we know the final season will have only 6 episodes, if G-Man becomes the frontman, he would have to either be stopped or brought back to believing in humanity again. It'd be a huge stretch to fit this into 6 episodes. I'm confident the series will end with Gi-hoon finding out the games are taking place all around the world. The Random Shid channel believes the Mexican Squid Games would include the game Loteria, which is low-key kind of fire. Breideno sees a happy ending where Gi-hoon and part of his friend group run off with the money to the US and live happily ever after. How do you want Squid Game to end? Number 7, the true origin. Many people believe Squid Game stole a huge amount of inspiration from the movie As the Gods Will, where students play games and almost all of them are eliminated. They even play red light, green light with a timer. However, the director debunked this theory by saying he wrote the script for Squid Game many years ago and had his idea rejected for 10 years straight before Netflix picked it up. This means he finalized the script for season 1 long before the 2014 release of this movie. There's also a movie called Battle Royale where the players are knocked unconscious using gas, there can only be one survivor, and they even use the same song that plays when the players first wake up in the bunk room. But the biggest source of inspiration for Squid Game is actually an anime called Kaiji, where a guy with a good heart falls into extreme debt, gets recruited into deadly games by a man in a suit. The organizers won't reveal what happens if they lose, and they convince the players to stay by showing them the money and explaining how the players already have nothing left to lose. In episode 11, the players wear numbers like in the Glass Game and are transported in coffins. The showrunners even call the players horses, a huge theme throughout Squid Game. Players make their way across narrow beams high in the air as VIPs watch and laugh. There's even an old man running the games who admits he's looking for a thrill since he doesn't feel that anymore. I want to know what you think. Which theory is your favorite? Share this video with a friend, hit me with your most insane theory in the comments, and check out these delicious videos.